The Carrion Christmas DLC is about a scary looking monster being a bit of a Grinch. You play as this monster and it's a hell of a lot of fun. Gameplay is broken into combat, exploration, and light puzzle solving. The area is pretty small, as this is a self-contained DLC. There's no way to bring up a map. That's not really an issue, because following the enemies keeps you on the right track. I spent a bit of time stumped on a puzzle, but after figuring out the solution, it really made sense. It wasn't like point-and-click logic or anything. There's a constant feeling of motivation when you clear out some enemies and get to the next room. I got sucked into the gameplay loop right away. The atmosphere was also another big reason I couldn't stop. Growling, slamming on walls, and tentacles whipping around sounded pretty intimidating, even though I was the one controlling the creature. The soundtrack fades into the back of your mind, but it always keeps up the unnerving atmosphere. It's not something I would listen to in my spare time, but that's a testament to how freaky it is. Pixel art is commonly used in indie games, but here, the amount of detail that comes across, it's beautiful. Christmas lights swing and pop when you rush past them. There's fantastic layering with backgrounds, and that shows distant landscapes. It engrosses you into the game world. There's a faint glow coming off of TVs, electronic signs issue announcements throughout the base, and then there's the fluid animations of the massive blob of flesh that slithers all around. It's really gross in the best way possible. Playing as the monster comes with some unique abilities. When smaller in size, it pays off to sneak around, and you can do that by turning invisible. Eat enough people, and your abilities change to having spikes grow out of you and being able to lunge. When you get to your biggest size, you can put up a temporary shield-like shell and skewer enemies with room-clearing tentacle attacks. At any size, you can use the monster to puppeteer humans. Then you can kill other enemies and get to restricted areas. Through clever use of these abilities, you can find fun ways to set up an ambush. I liked growling near a group of enemies, get them all into one spot, and then lunge at them to get a multi-kill. Nothing beat the basic grab a guy and slam him against a wall though. Despite facing off against a giant, disgusting, horrifying blob demon, these enemies are no joke. Even a single one is able to kill you quick. You need to play smart, because rushing into a room without a plan is a one-way ticket to fucking dying. Dying, you die. If I fumbled an ambush, I would end up getting shot and then scurrying away into a nearby corner to break the line of sight. That made me smile because of how freaky it looked. The gameplay just led to me naturally acting like a disgusting little monster crawling into a dark corner. I occasionally had issues when grabbing specific objects, and this happens a lot when the floor is littered with chunks of destroyed people and environments. To destroy robot enemies, I would usually grab and swing them into walls. The auto-lock worked very well for any interactable switches or objects that you need to move to progress in the game, especially if you're right on top of them. But when you're trying to reach for something, that gets a little bit janky. The targeting cursor for grabbing things appears when you move the right stick and disappears when the right stick is set into neutral position. It's overly sensitive. There's no way to change the sensitivity, and there's no way to toggle the cursor being on permanently. This left me stuck trying to nudge the very sensitive cursor just a little bit, and then accidentally going too far, then trying to pull back without resetting to neutral, which made the cursor disappear because I would reset it to neutral by accident. It was only a slight hindrance, I'm just getting a little nitpicky. The experience on Switch was excellent overall. I was just never able to reach and grab things in a scramble readily. The Christmas DLC for Carrion is all about wreaking havoc as a horrifying monster, but during the cozy holiday season. I love the spooky atmosphere, and this DLC very much calls back to John Carpenter's The Thing, which is fantastic in my eyes. This is a short but fun experience, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I got stuck occasionally, but I never had to look up a guide. It's a great game to pick up and play before bed, or in a little bit of downtime, and then when you're able to clear out a room, or you hit a switch, and you get a little bit of progress, you're like, hell yeah man, I earned that, let's go. Just because those enemies are freaking brutal. This is one experience I'd call a new Christmas classic. That's so cheesy, what the fuck? I wanted to end it kind of, you know, with like a, ooh, that's a good way to end the video.